Kia ora, good evening. An Invercargill service station was broken into early yesterday morning. An offender entered the challenged service station on Tweed Street around 1 a.m, accessing an office area, stealing approximately $1,500 in cash and MTA vouchers and $10 and $20 denominations. The offender is described as around 6 foot tall, wearing a black puffer jacket under a lighter coloured sleeveless top. He has a white hooded sweatshirt under the puffer jacket. If any members of the public have any information in relation to this offending or are offered any MTA petrol vouchers, please contact the Invercargill Police Station on 2111 0400. Information can be provided anonymously to the organisation Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. The New Zealand Schools Decile Ratings Review have been released following Census 2013.
The Ministry of Education has recalculated decile ratings for over 2,400 state and state integrated schools following last year's census. Deciles allow the ministry to allocate funding in the fairest way. The lower the school's decile rating, the more funding it will be given. In the south, 29 schools experienced no change, while 30 schools gained 1 decile point and 14 dropped 1. Tokanui School recorded the largest hike in decile, climbing from a 6 to the highest decile, a 10. Principal Kate Buchanan said it was a shock the jump was so big and is unsure why. The change means a $10,000 annual funding shortfall. She says tightening budgets and more fundraising will be given priority over cuts to relief teachers and staff development. The now decile 10 Tokanui School joins Balfour, Lime Hills, Hedgehope, Lochiel, Mararoa, Woodlands and Waikaka. The region's lowest decile rating of 1 has been allocated to Invercargill's New River Primary after dropping 1 point. Te Wharikura, St Patrick's and Nightcaps, Mataura School and Aurora College will receive more funding with a decile rating of 2.
Export fell just over 5% in October, with a total value of $4 billion compared to the same month last year. Once again, milk powder led the fall, along with butter and cheese exports falling 24% to $1.1 billion. Lower prices was the driver, with quantity down only 4.6%. The largest price drop was in milk powder, down 38%, with exports to China down 77%. This fall was partly offset by an increase to Algeria, up $37 million. Other key changes in commodity drop export values for October included 27% fall in aluminium and products and a rise in crude oil exports, up $78 million. New Zealand's second largest export commodity group, meat and edible offal, rose $13 million, led by frozen beef, up 30%. Spending on housing is growing at a faster rate than incomes, and people are spending more of their money paying off their mortgage principal rather than just interest. The latest household economic survey shows average annual household income rose 9.1% in the 2 years to June 2014 to just over $88,500. In the same period, average household weekly spending on housing costs rose 11.1% to $284. Increased housing costs were largely due to higher mortgage and rent payments and property rates hikes. A bigger proportion of mortgage spending is going on repaying the principal than covering the interest payments, according to Labour Market and Household Manager Diane Ramsey. Two of Southland's most promising young filmmakers have done it again by addressing one of the toughest topics faced by teenagers. Year 11 Verdon College students Liam Van Eden and Jean-Martin Faber have made it into the top 20 films at the National Outlook for Someday film competition for their film Rewind.
Well, it's the Outlook for Someday. It's a New Zealand-wide competition, and this year there was about 133 entries, and so then they get taken down to top 40 and top 20, which we made it into, and it's all about sustainability, so you can look at environmental or social. Last year we looked at environmental, but this year we decided to go for what they really wanted, which was the social sustainability. In the film we look at social exclusion, and so we sort of focused it around how bullying can affect people just in huge ways, and just random acts of kindness and aggression towards others can also change their lives.
We base our film on something that we call the domino effect, where if you do one small action, then it can have a huge effect on someone else, whether that effect be positive or negative. And that's what we really wanted to portray in our film. And in our film we have a main character that is struggling through the negative human behaviour that he is receiving, and then in the middle of the film we twist it around by one person making one small difference, and that had a huge positive effect on that main character's life. So that's really what our film is about.
How important is this topic to you personally?
Personally, I think it's quite a topical issue at the moment, especially among young people and in schools. In the film we touch on bullying, and I think that's something that is happening in every school, and I think it's just something that people need to be aware about, and I think it's the best thing. If you're hearing a message about bullying and a professional comes in and they talk about bullying, then the young people can think, oh yeah, okay. So if you're getting that message from people with the same age, then I think it can have more of an impact.
Stay with us. Up next on the bulletin, the ICC Cricket World Cup arrives in the city, plus hardy riders brave the elements to race Bluff Hill. Welcome back. Venture Southland and Sports Southland are encouraging Southlanders to get both festive and active when the Great Kids Can Santa Run arrives in Invercargill next week. The nationwide event takes place on December 3rd and 4th, with 18 venues taking part, including for the first time Invercargill. Kids Can proceeds will support 4 Southland schools, including Fernworth Primary, Newfield Park, New River Primary and St Patrick's in nightcaps. Sports Southland Events Manager Matt Sillers is encouraging families and workplaces to get involved. The Great Kids Can 2 kilometre Santa Run starts at 6:30 at Queen's Park Feldwick Gates. More information can be found and registrations made online at www.santarun.co.nz. The Cricket World Cup trophy made an appearance in Invercargill today before wrapping up its 3-week journey in Bluff. The ICC Cricket World Cup trophy tour has made its way from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South, stopping in towns and schools nationwide along the way. Today's cricket exhibition was held at the Gala Street Reserve, and there were some familiar faces.
Well, today we've obviously got the trophy in the big truck behind us here, so there's free photo ops with the trophy that everyone can have. There's a bit of information about the cup and the history and some key moments from previous Cricket World Cups. And then we have a series of cricket activations, batting, bowling and fielding there. And we can also sign a little message to the Black Caps, wishing them good luck for the tournament in February and March next year. Yeah, it's been fantastic actually. Yeah, the communities are really getting behind it. We've had some great turnouts at these events in the morning, and it's been a great opportunity to take it to schools as well, and get the wider New Zealand up close and actually been able to touch and photograph it. So it's great. Yeah.
When was the last time the trophy was in New Zealand?
Yeah, so the last time we had the tournament here was 1992, so it's been quite some time since we've had it back on these shores. In 92 it was hosted by Australia and New Zealand as well, so we're teaming up together again to host it next year. So February 14 is the first match. The opening match is at the newly opened Hagley Oval, and it's looking fantastic. So Dunedin and Christchurch will be hosting 3 matches each in February, so a really great opportunity for the Southland community to travel up and get behind it as well.
A number of road policing operations have been planned as Southern Police prepare for a busy summer holiday season. A steady increase in reports of unsafe driving has prompted police to conduct the first of a number of planned road policing operations. Over 200 infringement notices were issued over 4 days last week for speed and poor driving offences on busy holiday routes. Popular holiday routes which will be targeted by police include Queenstown, Kingston and Te Anau areas. Riders and spectators alike braved the first of the uncharitable weather predicted for the challenge today in Bluff. Sharon Rees has more.
The NZ hill climb kicked off the Burtman Road Challenge today, and riders were welcomed by some good old Southland weather. Icy winds and horizontal rain kept spectators rugged up, but even the harshest weather couldn't stop the event's most dedicated rider from returning for another year. Popular Melbourne-based rider Doug Wood is back to compete in the challenge, rain, hail or shine.
This is the 9th time over from Australia to do it, so I believe after this event this weekend I'll be the only competitor or the only one that's competed in all 9 events.
And how does this year fare to other years that you've been here?
Yeah, pretty good. It's about the same. The weather's always a challenge. It's good to catch up with everybody. It's been a pretty full-on year back in Australia racing.
And so how are you finding this year's weather?
It's pretty much the same every year. It's just cold.
What other challenges will you be competing in the Burt Munro?
We'll do today at the hill climb. We'll do the practice day tomorrow at Teretonga. We'll do the Teretonga sprint races on Saturday and the Wyndham Street race on Sunday in the pre-89 class.
How do you find Burt Munro in comparison to other events you've competed in around the world?
The Burt Munro is a one-off. They should have more events like this everywhere. It's something that I don't believe has ever been done anywhere else around the world, to have so many different races in a group of 5 days or 6 days put together. And for the organisers, it must be a heck of a nightmare to get everything done and get everything organised for it. But it's just exciting. It's you feel like you want to go out and do all the different races, but you just can't do that. Or some people have done it before, but yeah, it's quite strenuous doing just the three different classes or 3 different races for the weekend.
Despite the wet conditions, all events are running on schedule. The traditional lineup of the next 3 days includes the Beach Racing Champs, Speedway Spectacular and the Wyndham Street Races. Event organisers have advised a possible change in venues for tomorrow's Beach Racing Champs if high winds persist. Riders and spectators will be notified of any changes prior to the event. Sharon Rees, South Today News.
And that beach racing is scheduled for midday tomorrow. Weather's next, followed shortly by sport from the news team. Good night.